Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Ben here with Israeli News Live. Today is October the 30th, and we are here on our Patreon channel, one of our deep dives. I'm going to take you on a roller coaster ride that you're not going to believe. You remember the famous statement on October the 28th, 2 years ago, when Netanyahu made the statement, "You must remember Amalek and what he has done to you." Amalek is actually a son of Esau. So you got to be careful when you look at these comments that are being made because it goes back to Edom or the descendants of Esau and the command that God had given for Israel to wipe them out. So Amalek was nothing new. Now, the big question is Hamas. Is Hamas Esau? Is it truly Amalek? Is it really the descendants of Esau? I don't agree with that. But nonetheless, there are Christians there. That's what you got to watch out for. And I'm not going to get into much of that issue here on Patreon. Patreon doesn't really care for us to go those directions there. But I do want to share with you some biblical insight that's going to blow you away. It's going to really rock your world. We are looking at the Dead Sea Scrolls. That light there, even though it's not on, it's driving me nuts to look at it. Uh, we're going to go into the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're actually in Qumran Scrolls K4 174. Okay. And this is a very fascinating passage that's in here. It's a commentary on the biblical scriptures. So it's just the Qumran community reflecting on them. They recognized truly that God was going to have a temple made of a human body. It's going to be a man temple, not just a temple made with stones. And that's what I find fascinating about this and why the reason why I brought this one up to begin with. But it also begins to declare something to you that you have to really think about. You see, God had promised David there'd be a man on his throne eternally, basically, forever. Olam is what he says. It's going to be there forever. And his kingdom is going to endure forever. Well, when Jesus comes along and the Romans come in 70 AD, David's kingdom had wiped completely out. Well, you have to ask yourself the question then, did God just lie? Did he just flat out lie? Or did we miss something? Hmm, interesting. Let's take a look at what this says here. And there's bits and pieces missing, but we're going to read the whole thing. Um, I will, an enemy strike him any more, nor will a son of iniquity afflict him again as in the past from the day of which I appointed judges over my people Israel. This refers, now they're quoting, this is telling you what they're saying about 2 Samuel 7:10. This refers to the house which he will establish for him in the last days, as it is written in the book of Moses, quoting from Exodus chapter 15 through 17 through 18. The temple of the Lord, or Yahweh, your hands will establish. Yahweh shall reign forever and ever. This refers to the house into which shall not enter, nor ever either an Ammonite or Moabite, or a bastard, or a foreigner, or a proselyte, never because his holy ones are there. That's going to really get you because this is why oh gosh, this is crazy, right? All right, let me I got to be careful how I say this, all right? Yahweh shall reign forever. He will appear over it forever. Foreigners shall not again lay it waste as they laid waste in the past the temple of Israel on account of their sins. Whoa, wait a minute. Foreigners laid waste the temple on the account of Israel's sins. What sins? You're going to find out. Okay. And he commanded to build for himself a temple of man. All right, let me take you up here in the Hebrew language of that. That's in verse 6 here. Veyomer lavanot lo migdash. Migdash is a temple. Adam lehayot. All right, so he's going to make, and actually it's just these two words right here, a temple of man. Migdash. Migdash Adam. So, I mean, Gosh, the Qumran community had a heck of a lot better understanding of the coming of Jesus Christ, or the coming of the Messiah as a human being, and that being the temple of God, than the Pharisees did by a long shot. And there might be a reason for that. Remember, see, the Ammonite and the Moabite, or a bastard, or a foreign, or a proselyte, they weren't allowed to come in there. They weren't allowed in the temple. Right? Let's take a look at that. Ezra chapter 9. Favorite scripture, you love it. Now, when these things were done, the princes drew near unto me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the peoples of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, Moabites, Egyptians, and Amorites. What was the abomination they did? Well, let's read what he said. He'll tell you what it was. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the peoples of the lands. Well, why is that such a bad thing? The reason it's a bad thing. There's a reason for that. I'll tell you why. Remember when let me just take it to it. Let's see. I think it's in Numbers. Let's see if we can go to it real quick. I think it's Numbers chapter 13, I want to say. This is where we find that, oh, wait a minute, got to get to the right chapter, Steve. There we go, 13. This is where the spies went down to spy. Moses sends the 10 spies to spy out Canaan. He said to them, Go you here into the south and go up into the mountains and see the land, what it is, the people that dwell therein, and whether they are strong or weak, or whether they are few or many, right? Well, they go down there, and when they get there, they see these people, right? And they went and come to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel into the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. Right? Now, by the way, that fruit of that land is huge. Grapes. Took 2 strong men to carry the grapes. They told him and said, we came into the land whither thou sent us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and its fruit, and this is the fruit of it. All right? So they're all excited. Howbeit, the people that dwell in the land are fierce. The cities are fortified and very great, and the moreover we saw the children of Anak, not Enoch, Anak. Okay? We spell it in English, A-N-A-K. All right, we have it. Let's see. Here it is right here. There's Anak's name. Ein Nun Kof is how you spell his name. It says Vigam Yaladim, or Yaladai. Vigam Yaladai Anak Ra'anu Sham. We saw them with our eyes there. Amalek dwelleth in the land of the south. Who dwells in the south? Amalek. And the Hittite, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite dwelleth in the mountains, and the Canaanite dwelleth by the sea, all along by the side of the Jordan. Watch what they say about him. And Caleb steeled the people toward Moses and said, we should go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they spread an evil report of the land which they had spied out. Now, they didn't lie. It doesn't say they lied about the land. Okay? They just spread an evil report. Taru. There it is, right there, an evil report. And what did they say about the land? Through which we have passed to spy it out is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. All right? They eated up the inhabitants of the land. Remember what it was before the flood? The giants were literally cannibalists. They were eating the people. And there we saw, he's going to tell you who they are. We saw, doesn't say, all right, right here, that says Nephilim. He nun fe yod lamed yod mim. Right? B'nai, sons of Anak, mean, in Anak, he's telling you where Anak is from. Nephilim. This is totally, oh, it drives me nuts to see this. It really does. Why? Because it doesn't say Nephilim, it says Nephilim. Enoch's father, who it's written in the Bible who his father is a fallen angel. And they had made Nephilim. And what did Nephilim do before the flood? They ate the people. They weren't, it was an evil report because God said, go take the land. But notice though, here's what's interesting. I just find this so fascinating. Who's there, right? Now, get back to where it was at, right? Amalek dwelleth in the land. He's in the land of the south. The Hittite and the Jebusite and the Amorite dwelleth in the mountains of the Canaanites, dwelleth by the sea. They're all Nephilim giants. Amalek was just a son of Esau. Did anybody forget that Herod the Great was an Edomite? Well, I thought David killed them all. I could have sworn David killed them all, and if David didn't do it, I thought Solomon finished them off. There was one that got left out. And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran. Who got left out? Let's back up just a little bit. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain, had smitten every male in Edom. There shouldn't have been a single Edomite. There should have not have been a Herod to this day. Should have never came into the state of Israel and became king. That's why God told him to smite them all, because they were Nephilim. Esau had mixed his bloodline with those races and brought in Nephilim children. His descendants became Nephilim. Amalek was one of his sons. But we find out what happens. For Joab and all Israel remained there 6 months until he had cut off every male in Edom. Every male! Every male! With the exception of one. That Hadad. There we go. One male child he didn't get, Hadad. Fled, and certain Edomites of his father's servants. Those were only servants. Okay? But Hadad wasn't. With him to go into Egypt. Hadad being yet a little child. All right? And they rose out of Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, who gave him a house and appointed him victuals and gave him land. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Taphanes, the queen. I did a teaching on that a long time ago. You should look it up. Look up about Taphanes. If you can find, I don't even know how to find it. I don't know if I've got that in the title or not, right? But the point is, he became known as the Egyptians because he was raised as a prince of Pharaoh. Later, he requests to go to Syria, to Aram, which is known as Syria, and he became the king there. And so when we see in the book of Ezra that the children of Israel had taken and mingled the holy seed amongst the peoples of the lands. It was the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, Egyptians, and the Amorites. Wow. There you go. Hadad's own descendants, Esau. Now you see how Herod was able to get in power. This is why Jesus said to the Pharisees in Matthew 23, well, let's just look at it, right? I want this just to be right by the book, right? By the holy book, the Bible. Let's take a look at it. Matthew 23. All right. He calls them all kinds of things. Be ye not called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and you are all brethren. That's why I quit calling these guys I just call them Jewish scholars. All right. They are scholars of Talmud. That's okay. You can call them that, but do not call them by that name there. When you do, you make that your master. Just don't forget that.